Hey guys, this is JJ again from realitysurvival.com, and today what I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about fire starters. Typically when people think about fire starters, they think about traditional things, store-bought items that are specifically built and made for starting fires. Well, what I'm going to show you today is that there's a whole lot of things that you have around you that can be used to start a fire that you might not typically think of, and they can be pretty effective. So we're going to go through a whole bunch of different things that are pretty typical for people to carry when they're camping, hiking, hunting, out in the wilderness, and they may not necessarily think that they have a fire starter with them when in fact they could. So what we're going to see here next is a series of shots, just a quick little demonstration on how you can start some of these things on fire and use it as a tinder. Okay, so what we got first is just your typical little Scotch-Brite pad, scrub pans and all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't necessarily think that could be used as a fire starter. But what I've done here is I've just ripped a corner of this off and I've just kind of pulled it apart. Basically, anytime you're lighting a fire, you want your tinder to be in an airy little nest. All right, so I've got that down there, and then I'm just going to take my metal match. I'm going to kind of set it right in the middle of it, and it may take a few tries. It's not your typical tinder, but it is made of plastic. And pretty much anything made of plastic or petroleum products, if it can be made into a fibrous little nest, it's going to burn for you. Okay, so the next item we got for you is a candle. Just a basic everyday candle. All I did to get it prepared to light with a metal match is take and cut off about 1/4 inch of the wax and then spread out these fibers so that it'll catch the spark. And I want to kind of just lay it somewhere where I can get a good shower of sparks on it. Stick my metal match kind of up underneath there. And these can be kind of difficult. Okay, so the next item we have up are just some alcohol prep pads out of a typical first aid kit. A lot of guys carry a first aid kit with them in the field, and this could be one thing that could help start a fire for you. All I did to prepare that is just tear it up into little pieces, try to get out as many fibers as I could, and there I go. You may not be able to see that flame real well, but it is burning. Okay, what we got next is just a little styrofoam paper plate I've torn some chunks off of, and I'll just set it down here on my platform and give it a go. The sparks actually burn right through that plate. Make a little hole for you and catch it on fire. Okay, so a water bottle by itself doesn't work too great, but you could use a water bottle to hold some fluids that you may have with you. This is just a bottle of 70% isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Use that to hold some of this fluid here in the bottom of this water bottle, and there you go. You can see it shrink up. Flame's pretty difficult to see because it's alcohol, but you can see that it'll catch that paper on fire. Okay, the next item I got for you is just a basic plastic spoon. Alright, like I said earlier, pretty much anything made of plastic, petroleum could burn if it's prepared the right way. And with these, what you do is just basically get some shavings off of them. So, I got a little pile started there, but basically just take a knife and start scraping backwards. So you get a nice little nest going there. take and add these to it. Alright, then I'll take my metal match, put it right down in there. There we go. Once it gets going there, I'll just kind of help it out. Guide it up on into that plastic. And I've got a little, nice little flame. Now, obviously this is not ideal. It's not as good as a cotton ball and Vaseline or a man-made tinder, but it'll work in a pinch. Okay, next up what we got is just a little bottle of hand sanitizer. Just squirted a little bit of that down there. I'm going to take my metal match, obviously. Match would work too, and it's lit. Again, alcohol is the primary component in that, and as you can see, it lit that paper up just fine. Alright, so the next thing I got on the list here is just a little Walmart sack. Give that a shot. There we go. Got it going. Wasn't easy, but it did work. So that's a possibility as well. Alright, next item we got is a 2x2 gauze dressing, and I'm just going to take about half of that here, and I'm going to squirt it with some Banana Boat Sport Performance UV 50 suntan lotion. See if that'll work. I don't know if it will or not, but I think it's got alcohol in it, so it may. There you go. Who knew suntan lotion was so flammable, huh? Wow, that's pretty impressive. So that's a pretty good fire starter right there. Okay, so the next thing we got is a tube of chapstick and just the other half of that 2x2 piece of gauze. So I'll stick that down there. I actually saw this on Dual Survival the other day. I thought it was pretty cool, so I thought I would give it a shot and see how it worked here for me. Just taking a little bit of that chapstick, kind of smearing it in among these fibers, and then I'll try to kind of make it into as much of an airy little nest as I can, and we'll light it up. Okay, the cotton caught there. Obviously you could use the cotton just by itself if you wanted to, that would be fine. But that wax is actually going to be the fuel that's going to keep that burning for a little bit, and it's going to make it a better tinder. And I didn't have to use the whole tube, I just used a little bit of it, and it's going to keep burning fine. Okay, so the next thing I got is just a little roll of cotton gauze out of a first aid kit, and then I also have some antibiotic ointment. This is just your typical topical ointment, and I'm going to squirt that out of the tube there and kind of work it in. One of the main ingredients in this ointment is petroleum jelly, and as we know, petroleum burns pretty darn well. So I'll get that in there. That was being a little stubborn, but there it goes. Okay, what I got next is just a basic combat bandage. You can find them in any Army surplus store, or you know, pretty much all over the place. I went ahead and I tore the wings off of it, and then I ripped open the center pad, and here what I've got is just a little bit of gun oil. If you're a hunter or anything like that, and you have any kind of an oil or anything in a gun cleaning kit or whatever, that may be something that you could use to help you out too. So rip that open where it can get down in some of them cotton fibers, and there you go. It's going to start up and it'll burn that oil and all that cotton and everything, and that's going to be a massive fire starter that you could use in an emergency. You know, if you really needed to get something going. Obviously you don't want to burn your bandages up for no reason, but as you can see, something like that's going to start pretty well. I didn't have to put the oil in there. I'm just throwing it in there for something to think about. So I just got back to the truck after doing up a few of those fire starters for you, and since I had fire starting on my brain, I remembered the cigarette lighter plug. I'm not sure how many new vehicles have those today still, but obviously this would be a good ignition source for lighting a fire if you were ever in an emergency situation. Alright, so that's all for fire starters, and good luck out there.